Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel D Creations Resources. We are looking at different aspects of research methodology. Today we are going to talk about qualities of a researcher. Now obviously there are going to be some qualities which are true for any professional and some which are a little more specialized towards being a researcher. So let's start with persistence. Simply because if some people are asked what is the full form of PhD, which actually is Doctor of Philosophy, they tend to say persistence, hard work and determination. Well, it just reflects that what qualities one should possess if you want to fulfill your PhD successfully, right? So what is persistence? So you want to continue doing whatever you're doing irrespective of whatever challenges you face, right? So that you have patience, you have a lot of tenacity, and you are thorough with the subject. Also you are very determined to achieve something. And so PhD is open-ended, right? So when you start pursuing a problem, that time you are not aware whether you will, whether whatever hypothesis that you have made will be completely true. So it's possible that you are doing something and the results that you are get absolutely not what you had desired they should be, right? But still, there's nothing called as a bad result because every result teaches you something. So it might be different from what you expected from the hypothesis, but still it gives you a direction of thought. At least you know, okay, what you should be avoiding, right? So even if you don't get desired results within a stipulated time, you should not give up. You have to be patient enough to wait for the results. And who knows, sometimes even when you get a result which is completely different from what you expected, that leads to something more extraordinary, I would say. Now, many a times the research work is really time consuming, and sometimes you have to do some things which you can say that it's kind of a drudgery for you, but you have to do them. And usually it's not just a person doing it all single handedly, you require help from several people. So even that sometimes leads to some kind of delay, and then you have to be prepared for it and basically not give up, because just being a hurry is not going to yield anything. Okay, then of course you should have courage to ask question. So the WH questions, what, how, when, why, where, everything. So whatever observation that you have or whatever data that you get, you should be ready to ask all these questions so that it leads you to many more newer things, or it gives you it gives a direction to whatever path you are following. And you have to do your work critically, whether it's observations or experimenting, or whether you're consulting someone, or whether you're discussing someone with someone, if you're taking some survey or there's some reasoning that you have to do. So all these things, it has to be critically done without being having a bias in your own mind. Being proficient in your own subject, of course, it's the basic requirement, right? So you would need to maybe collect a lot of literature and study it in order to understand the subject that you are doing. So you have to do that again, critically analyze it and learn from it. And for a researcher, since it's open ended, it's great to have a strong power of imagination, because imagination is essential for insights and even for problem solving. So if you have imagination, when you face a challenge, then you can think of ways to overcome it, right? So that is again one important quality. Then of course you have to have self confidence, because there would be times, there would be moments when nothing is working the way you want to. And so don't start thinking that okay, there's something wrong with me. No, you need to observe everything objectively, assess the situation, and then begin again, or keep working. Of course you would always be looking for perfection, right? So that means that not being satisfied by getting a result from performing an experiment just once. You have to do it repeatedly. And if then again the whatever answer you're getting or whatever trend you're observing is the same, then you know that okay, fine, this is verified. So you should not conclude just from one experiment done only once, right? And of course, you have to be honest to yourself and to your research. So you should not be manipulating the results under any circumstances. So the aim is not, in anyhow make the hypothesis true. That is not your aim. Hypothesis was just what you thought uh, at that time, but the results can indicate something completely different, and you should be open minded to accept that. And you should be impartial. So don't have any preconceived notions or biases towards the topic. So otherwise you will see everything from that same perspective, and that's not helpful at all. So what should guide you is the facts, the reasons, the logic, and being objective, of course, is very important, as I mentioned right now. So you have to be skeptical about whatever data that you observe or get. And of course, there is no option for hard work. As I mentioned in the beginning, PhD, some people say it stands for hard work, and then, well, there is no PhD without any hard work, right? And even after your PhD, when you pursue research, you have to, there's no substitute for it. You have to be industrious, because research is not something very very easy, right? So if you're being lazy, or if you're just looking for comfort and luxury, then it will not make you a successful researcher, and you wouldn't achieve much by being so. So you have to aspire to make new discoveries and be dedicated towards your work. And when you of course do that, you have to be open to new ideas. I already mentioned that how you have to be truthful, you have to be honest to whatever you're getting. Make sure that you're following the whatever are the established ethics, and uh, you're not going for things such as plagiarism, right? Because you don't want to copy somebody else's work and then publish it as your own. No, that obviously you should not be doing that. And as I mentioned, usually it's not work of just one person. It takes a team, and so there has to be some team spirit, because you can't do everything, right? Or you may not be expert with everything in every field. So you need to take help of people who are expert in those respective fields. Or for a science researcher, for example, you may want to characterize whatever samples you have. So you need to take help of people who are technicians, or who help you with that, or you will have collaborators. And especially when your work is interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary, so you have to be able to work well in a team. So don't let any personal egos, etc., uh, intervene here, right? And then you have to have scientific attitude. Now, what is scientific attitude? Is it just limited to the researchers of science? No, not necessarily. It's true for any discipline. Attitudes are predispositions to react positively or negatively to some object. And scientific attitude is basically to promote the use of scientific approaches or being rational about things. So not succumb to some superstitions or some information which is unfounded or not verified, etc. Just you heard something and some word spread word of mouth and you're believing it, or doing pseudoscience, etc. No, you should not resort to those things. And the basic thing, of course, is to be curious, right? Only when you're curious, you would want to do better and better. And being curious also helps. It tells you sometimes, if you're thinking one track, if you're curious about things, it can contribute in very interesting ways. And of course, you have to be genuinely interested in the subject, whatever you have taken up. and vouch for unraveling the unknown. Because so sometimes this is called as research aptitude or research mind, so you should possess that. And yes, it's very it's a fruitful journey when you're working as a researcher. But it's not a very easy journey. It takes time, it takes lot of determination, it takes lot of perseverance and persistence and hard work, and only after that you can be a successful researcher. Thank you.